First Contact Protocol. Dr. Sarah Chen stood motionless in the darkened control room of Earth's Deep Space Detection Array, her eyes fixed on the holographic display floating before her. The massive underground facility, buried 2 miles beneath the Australian outback, had just picked up something unprecedented. The quantum sensors, disguised as simple radio telescopes on the surface, were tracking an organized formation of objects decelerating at the edge of the solar system. Director Chen, quantum signature analysis is complete, announced Marcus Webb, her chief of operations. It's definitely artificial. We're looking at 12 vessels. Formation suggests military configuration. Sarah nodded slowly, her mind already racing through the implications. Humanity had spent the last 50 years preparing for this moment, though they'd hoped it would come later rather than sooner. Begin First Contact Protocol, she ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. And get me a direct line to the Defense Council. Around the world, hidden facilities began powering up their systems while maintaining their carefully crafted facade of primitive technology. To any observer, Earth still appeared to be a developing civilization dependent on fossil fuels and basic electronics. The truth was far more complex. In a seemingly ordinary office building in Singapore, General Michael Zhang reviewed the incoming data from the detection array. The building's mundane exterior concealed one of Earth's primary defense coordination centers. How long until they reach scanner range? He asked his tactical officer. At their current velocity, approximately 72 hours, sir. They appear to be conducting standard deceleration procedures for system entry. Zhang's expression remained neutral, but inwardly he felt a mixture of anticipation and concern. Humanity had spent generations preparing for first contact, building their real infrastructure deep underground and underwater, while maintaining a carefully constructed image of technological backwardness on the surface. Now they would see if that deception would pay off. In orbit, what appeared to be primitive communications satellites continued their normal operations. Their true nature, as nodes in an advanced quantum defense network, remained dormant for now. The approaching alien fleet would see exactly what humanity wanted them to see, a civilization just beginning to reach for the stars. Back in the detection array control room, Dr. Chen studied the detailed analysis of the alien vessels. Their drive signatures suggest they're using some form of quantum propulsion, she observed. But it's inefficient. Their field coherence is nowhere near what we achieved 20 years ago. Marcus raised an eyebrow. They're more advanced than what we're showing on the surface, but less advanced than what we actually have. Exactly, Sarah replied with a grim smile. Which means our strategy might work even better than we hoped. They'll see what they expect to see, a primitive world ripe for whatever they have planned. They won't be looking for anything more. Throughout the solar system, automated defense platforms disguised as asteroids tracked the approaching fleet while maintaining their dormant appearance. In underwater bases and underground bunkers, crews ran final system checks on weapons platforms and shield generators that no alien scan would detect. On the surface, life continued as normal, cars burning gasoline, power plants burning coal, aircraft using jet engines. The greatest deception in human history continued. Defense Council is convening in 5 minutes, Marcus reported. They're activating the quantum secure network now. Sarah straightened her uniform and prepared to brief Earth's military leadership. The next few days would determine whether humanity's long preparation had been enough. They had hidden their true capabilities for generations, building their strength in secret while presenting an image of weakness to the stars. As she walked to the quantum conference room, Sarah thought about the aliens approaching their solar system. They probably thought they were being cautious, probably thought they had the technological advantage. They had no idea they were flying into a trap 50 years in the making. Begin Surface Camouflage Protocol Delta, she ordered as she reached the conference room door. Let's make sure our visitors see exactly what we want them to see. Across Earth's surface, quantum damping fields increased in power while remaining undetectable to conventional scans. Deep underground, Fusion reactors and zero-point energy collectors continued powering humanity's real civilization. And in space, the approaching alien fleet continued their approach, unaware that they were about to learn a crucial lesson about appearances and assumptions. The trap was set. Now they just had to wait for their visitors to spring it. The Deception Grid. Commander Talon of the Mercurian Defense Fleet watched his quantum display with practiced calm as the alien vessels crossed Neptune's orbit. From his command center deep within Mercury's sunward side, disguised by the planet's intense heat signature, he had an unobstructed view of their approach. The aliens were following exactly the route Earth's strategists had predicted, the most efficient path for studying this seemingly primitive world. All stealth systems nominal, reported his tactical officer. Their scans are passing right through our heat camouflage. They still think Mercury is uninhabited. Humanity's first major off-world military installation had been built on Mercury precisely because no one would expect to find it there. The brutal conditions that made the planet seem uninhabitable provided the perfect cover for a massive military complex. Similar bases dotted the solar system, all hidden in plain sight. In Earth orbit, Lieutenant Diana Rodriguez piloted what appeared to be a primitive maintenance shuttle, ostensibly servicing communications satellites. In reality, she was conducting final checks on the quantum defense grid that would, when activated, create an impenetrable barrier around Earth. Her shuttle's crude exterior concealed technology that would have seemed like magic to the civilization Earth pretended to be. Grid node 247 synchronized. She reported through the quantum encrypted channel. Deception field is holding steady at 99.97% effectiveness. Back on Earth, Dr. Chen and General Zhang were meeting with the Defense Council in a secure chamber beneath the Himalayas. The massive underground complex housed the nerve center of Earth's true military command, while the public military bases on the surface served as elaborate props in humanity's greatest performance. The aliens will be within detailed scanning range in 48 hours, Sarah reported, gesturing to the holographic display. Everything they'll see has been carefully crafted. Their scans will show exactly what a civilization at our apparent level of development should have. Nothing more, nothing less. And our real capabilities? Asked Admiral Hassan from his command post in the underwater base beneath the Indian Ocean. Completely masked, General Zhang confirmed. The quantum dampening field is operating perfectly. As far as their sensors are concerned, we're still burning fossil fuels and struggling to reach Mars. The council members nodded in approval. This strategy had been developed and refined over decades, ever since the first quantum sensors had detected evidence of alien civilizations. Instead of announcing their discoveries and racing to develop visible defenses, humanity had chosen a different path. They had maintained a carefully crafted image of technological backwardness while building their true civilization in secret. On the surface, cities continued their carefully choreographed display of primitive technology. Power plants belched smoke into the air, while the real energy grid, based on zero-point energy extraction, hummed quietly underground. Cars moved through streets powered by internal combustion engines, while gravity manipulation vehicles remained hidden in subterranean tunnels. Surface satellites are picking up their first detailed scans, Marcus reported from the detection array control room. They're focusing on our visible military installations. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Those installations, with their primitive jets and radar systems, were essentially movie sets, incredibly detailed props designed to convince any observer that Earth was decades away from being a real interstellar power. In high orbit, Commander Talon's forces remained invisible, their ships disguised as debris or hidden behind advanced cloaking fields. The Mercurian fleet hadn't been idle during humanity's long preparation. They had developed and refined technologies that their visitors couldn't imagine, all while maintaining the illusion of a dead, uninhabitable planet. New data coming in from the quantum analysis, Diana reported from her shuttle. Their weapon systems are active but dormant. They're running standard reconnaissance protocols. Let them look, General Zhang replied, his voice calm. Let them see our primitive defenses, our limited space presence, our struggling attempts at interplanetary travel. Let them think they have the advantage. In the following hours, the alien fleet continued their methodical approach, their scans revealing exactly what Earth wanted them to see, a civilization that would seem defenseless against their superior technology. They had no way of knowing that every scan, every analysis, every bit of data they collected was being carefully monitored and managed by humanity's true defense systems. The trap was nearly ready. Soon, Earth's visitors would learn that appearances can be deceiving, and that sometimes the most dangerous opponent is the one who appears weakest. As Dr. Chen reviewed the latest data from the detection array, she couldn't help but wonder what the aliens would think when they finally realized the truth, that they hadn't found an easy target, but had instead wandered into the most elaborate defensive strategy ever conceived. Silent watchers. High Commander Vexkar stood on the bridge of the Stellar Seeker, his primary eyes fixed on the holographic display of the blue-green planet ahead. His secondary eyes scanned multiple data streams, analyzing the wealth of information their advanced sensors were collecting. Something about this primitive world wasn't sitting right with him, though he couldn't quite identify what. Analysis update. High Commander, his science officer, Rental, reported. Their technological level remains consistent with our initial estimates. Primitive fission reactors for power generation, chemical rockets for space travel, and basic digital communications networks. Vexkar's facial tendrils twitched slightly, a sign of unease in his species, and yet, he mused, their development pattern seems too perfect, too predictable. On Earth, Dr. Chen watched the alien vessels through the quantum detection grid's feeds. Their visitors were being more thorough than expected, their scans more detailed. She could almost sense their growing uncertainty. They're running their fourth comprehensive scan of the Pacific region, Marcus reported, focusing particularly on our underwater activity. Sarah nodded. The massive underwater bases remained perfectly hidden, their quantum signatures masked by advanced dampening fields. To the alien sensors, Earth's oceans appeared to hold nothing more interesting than submarines running on nuclear power, precisely what they'd expect to find. Lieutenant Rodriguez, still maintaining her cover as a satellite maintenance worker, noticed the alien scans passing through her sector again. They're paying special attention to our satellite network, she reported through the quantum channel. I think they're looking for something. But they don't know what they're looking for, General Zhang responded from his command center. That's the beauty of our strategy. They can tell something's not quite right, but they can't figure out what it is. In Mercury's hidden base, Commander Talon received new sensor data from his fleet's stealth platforms. The alien vessels are deploying some kind of autonomous probe network, he reported to the Defense Council. Small, stealthy units designed to penetrate planetary defenses. Let them come, Admiral Hassan replied from his underwater command post. Our deception grid is designed to fool anything they send. Their probes will see exactly what their ships see. Nothing more, nothing less. Back on the Stellar Seeker, Vexkar reviewed the latest reports from his probe network. Everything they found aligned perfectly with their expectations of a Level 2 civilization. Almost too perfectly. High Commander, Rental spoke up, her voice carrying a note of frustration. I've analyzed their global energy consumption patterns for the 5th time. They align exactly with theoretical models for a civilization at this stage of development. Too exactly, Vexkar muttered. Run a quantum variance analysis. Look for any anomalies, no matter how small. Dr. Chen smiled as she watched the aliens' increasing scrutiny of their carefully crafted facade. Earth's deception grid wasn't just hiding their true capabilities. It was actively feeding the aliens carefully crafted data, making everything appear exactly as it should for a civilization at their supposed level of development. They're starting to suspect something, she commented to Marcus. But they can't prove anything. Every scan, every analysis, every piece of data they collect supports what they see on the surface. In orbit, Diana's maintenance shuttle continued its seemingly routine work on the satellite network. Each satellite she serviced was actually a node in the quantum defense grid, capable of generating enough energy to vaporize a small moon. But to the alien sensors, they appeared to be nothing more than primitive communications relays. "Their probes are getting closer to my position," she reported. "Current distance, 300 kilometers and closing. Maintain your cover," General Zhang ordered. "Let them get a good close look at our primitive technology." On the Stellar Seeker, Vexcar's frustration was growing. "Deploy the deep scan probes," he ordered. "Something about this planet isn't right, and I want to know what it is." The alien vessel released a new wave of probes, these equipped with their most advanced scanning technology. As they descended toward Earth's atmosphere, humanity's defense systems tracked their every move while remaining completely invisible. "Deep scan probes detected," Commander Talon reported from Mercury. "They're using quantum resonance technology to try to penetrate our deception field." "Let them try," Sarah replied, her confidence unwavering. "Our quantum dampening field was specifically designed to defeat this kind of deep scan. They'll find exactly what we want them to find. Nothing more, nothing less." As the hours passed, the alien fleet's scans became increasingly thorough and sophisticated. They searched for any sign of advanced technology, any hint that Earth might be more than it appeared to be. But everywhere they looked, they found only what they expected to find: a developing civilization, still dependent on primitive technology, seemingly defenseless against any advanced threat. The trap was working perfectly. Earth's visitors were about to learn that the most dangerous predator is the one that makes its prey feel safe right up until the moment it strikes. The reveal. The first indication that something was terribly wrong came when 3 of the Stellar Seeker's deep scan probes simultaneously went dark. High Commander Vexcar's tendrils writhed in agitation as warning signals flashed across his command displays. "Report," he barked, all 4 eyes fixed on the rapidly changing tactical readouts. "Unknown, High Commander," Rental responded, her fingers dancing across her control panel. The probes were functioning perfectly, then they just disappeared. No malfunction signals, no debris detection, they're just gone. In the detection array control room, Dr. Chen watched the aliens' reaction to their first hint that Earth wasn't as defenseless as it appeared. "Probe containment successful," she announced to the Defense Council. "Phase 1 is complete. Begin Phase 2, General Zhang ordered from his command center. Let's show them a little more." Throughout the solar system, humanity's carefully crafted illusion began to shift. On Mercury, Commander Talon's fleet remained hidden, but the quantum dampening field around the planet subtly changed its frequency. Not enough to reveal what was hidden there, but enough to make the aliens question their initial scans. "Energy fluctuation detected in the Mercury sector," reported one of Vexcar's sensor officers. "Some kind of quantum disturbance. But our initial scans showed nothing there." High Commander Vexcar felt his blood run cold. "Run a complete sensor sweep of the entire system. Maximum power." Lieutenant Rodriguez, still maintaining her cover in orbit, received new orders through the quantum channel. With precise movements, she guided her maintenance shuttle toward one of the larger communications satellites. To the alien observers, it looked like routine work. In reality, she was activating the first stage of Earth's orbital defense grid. "Satellite network is showing unusual power signatures," Rental reported, her voice tense. "They're far stronger than they should be for primitive communication devices." "Impossible," Vexcar muttered. "Their technology level." Before he could finish, new alarms blared across the Stellar Seeker's bridge. Multiple sensor contacts were appearing throughout the solar system, contacts that hadn't been there moments before. What had appeared to be random debris and asteroids were suddenly showing signs of artificial construction. In her underwater command center, Admiral Hassan watched as humanity's carefully orchestrated revelation unfolded. "Quantum grid phase 2 activation confirmed," she reported. "The net is closing." On the Stellar Seeker, chaos erupted as more sensor contacts appeared. "High Commander," Rental's voice cracked with disbelief. "I'm detecting advanced power signatures. They're everywhere." in orbit, under the oceans, beneath the surface. That's not possible, Vexkar insisted, but the evidence was undeniable. The primitive world they had come to study was transforming before their eyes. Dr. Chen stood in the detection array control room, watching as humanity's true face was gradually revealed. "They're finally seeing it," she said to Marcus. "They're finally understanding what they've walked into." The quantum dampening fields that had hidden Earth's true technology began to shift, allowing the aliens to see carefully selected glimpses of what lay beneath the primitive facade. Underground bases powered by zero-point energy generators became visible to their scans. The satellite network revealed its true nature as an interconnected defense grid. The seemingly empty space around Earth rippled as advanced cloaking fields partially deactivated. "High Commander," one of Vexkar's officers called out. "The humans. They're broadcasting a message. On all frequencies, including our encrypted channels." Dr. Chen's voice, translated into perfect galactic standard, echoed through the alien vessels. "To the command staff of the approaching fleet, you have entered a restricted space under the protection of the Earth Defense Force. Your scans have been monitored, your probes have been contained, and your presence has been tracked since you entered the solar system." On Mercury, Commander Talon's fleet remained hidden, but their weapon systems powered up, adding their energy signatures to the growing evidence of Earth's true capabilities. In the oceanic command centers, massive doors began to open, revealing the awesome scale of humanity's hidden military installations. "The civilization you thought you were investigating doesn't exist," Chen's message continued. "It never did. What you've seen until now was a carefully crafted illusion, designed specifically to fool overconfident visitors. You are currently surrounded by forces you cannot detect, targeted by weapons you cannot see, and trapped in a defense grid you cannot escape." Vexkar stared at his tactical display in horror as more and more human installations revealed themselves. The primitive world they had come to study had vanished, replaced by something far more dangerous, a civilization that had mastered the art of deception on a solar system scale. "Your next actions," Chen's message concluded, "will determine whether you leave this system with a warning or become an example to others who might follow. Choose carefully." Final warning. High Commander Vexkar stood motionless on his bridge, all four eyes fixed on displays that showed the impossible. The primitive world his fleet had come to study had vanished, replaced by something that shouldn't exist, a civilization that had somehow hidden its true nature from the most advanced sensors in the known galaxy. "Final analysis complete," High Commander Rental reported, her voice barely a whisper. "Their quantum technology exceeds our theoretical models. The power readings we're detecting, they're beyond anything in our database." In Earth's detection array control room, Dr. Chen watched the alien fleet's reaction through the quantum sensors. "They're running comprehensive scans of everything we've revealed," she reported to the Defense Council. "Their power emissions suggest their weapons are powered down." "Good," General Zhang responded. "Now let's show them why that was a wise decision." Throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden forces continued their carefully choreographed revelation. On Mercury, Commander Talon finally received the order he'd been waiting for. "Initiating full-spectrum reveal," he announced. The surface of Mercury rippled as massive hangar doors opened, revealing shipyards and defense installations that had been hidden for decades. Spacecraft that made the alien vessels look primitive by comparison emerged from their concealment, their quantum drives humming with barely contained power. By the eternal void, Vexkar breathed as new contacts appeared on his tactical display. "They're ships. They're everywhere." Lieutenant Rodriguez guided her shuttle into formation with a squadron of vessels that had just emerged from Earth's atmosphere, their true forms no longer hidden by holographic camouflage. What had appeared to be a primitive maintenance craft transformed into an advanced interceptor, bristling with weapons that could tear apart space itself. "You're probably wondering how we did it." Dr. Chen's voice came through the alien fleet's communications again. "How we hid an entire civilization's worth of advanced technology from your sensors. The answer is simple. We've been preparing for this moment since before your species achieved spaceflight. In his underwater command center, Admiral Hassan watched as the last pieces of humanity's deception fell away. The oceans themselves seemed to come alive as massive structures rose from the depths, their true nature finally revealed. Every primitive power plant you detected was covering a zero-point energy generator, Chen continued. Every satellite you scanned was part of a quantum defense network. Every piece of outdated technology you observed was carefully crafted to create the image we wanted you to see. On the Stellar Seeker's bridge, Rental's instruments detected new energy signatures appearing throughout the solar system. High Commander, they have installations on every planet, every major moon, even in the asteroid belt. They've turned the entire system into an interconnected fortress. Vexcar understood now. His fleet hadn't found a primitive civilization ripe for investigation. They had wandered into the territory of a power that had mastered not just advanced technology, but the art of strategic deception on a scale never before encountered. Your civilization prides itself on its advanced scanning technology. Chen's message continued. Did you never wonder why you found exactly what you expected to find? Why everything matched your theoretical model so perfectly? The answer is simple. We fed your sensors exactly what they were looking for, while hiding our true capabilities behind quantum fields you hadn't even theorized yet. From hidden bases throughout the solar system, more of humanity's forces revealed themselves. Ships emerged from the shadow of Saturn's rings, defense platforms appeared in the Lagrange points, and massive weapon arrays rose from the lunar surface. We could have destroyed your fleet the moment you entered our system, Chen explained, her voice carrying no hint of threat, just simple fact. We chose not to. Instead, we let you see what you wanted to see, let you believe what you wanted to believe, and then showed you how completely wrong those beliefs were. In the detection array control room, Marcus handed Sarah a final update. All forces revealed except for the Phase Omega platforms, he reported. Should we show them those as well? No, she replied with a slight smile. Let's leave them something to worry about. Sometimes the fear of what might still be hidden is more effective than any demonstration. This is your warning. Chen's final message to the alien fleet declared, you will leave this system immediately. You will report to your superiors exactly what you've seen here. And you will inform them that Earth is not what it appears to be. We are not a primitive civilization waiting to be conquered or studied. We are not defenseless, and we are not naive. Your recommendation, Science Officer, Vexcar asked quietly. Rental's scales had turned pale with fear. We leave, High Commander. We leave now, and we make sure everyone knows why. As the alien fleet began their withdrawal, carefully watched by humanity's revealed forces, Dr. Chen stood in her control room, thinking about the message they had just sent to the galaxy. Earth's long deception had served its purpose. Any future visitors would think very carefully before making assumptions about human civilization. Sometimes, she said to no one in particular, the best way to win a war is to make sure it never starts. And sometimes the best defense isn't a strong weapon. It's making your potential enemies afraid of what weapons you might have hidden. The alien ships disappeared into deep space, carrying with them a lesson that would spread throughout the galaxy. Earth was not what it seemed, and any civilization that made the mistake of underestimating humanity would learn that lesson far more harshly than they had. In the void they left behind, humanity's forces returned to their hidden positions, their advanced technology once again concealed behind the facade of a developing civilization. Earth resumed its carefully maintained appearance of primitive technology, ready to teach the same lesson to the next visitors who might make the mistake of judging by appearances alone.